Well, friends of Mundo Maldini, I'm right where we always record Despejados. Here, you have the Despejados program, we just recorded it. And you'll have it tonight, of course, at 10. I have the Leganés jersey here because we're going to do the ratings for Barca. For Leganés, Barca. And this Leganés jersey that played a historic match yesterday, friends of Mundo Maldini, they played a historic match. The 0-1 victory of Leganés in Barcelona. Leganés was magnificent, but I promised you that we would do the Barca ratings. So let's get to the Barca ratings. Of course, great match from Sergio. He definitely had a match that I think is unforgettable for him. Absolutely unforgettable. But let's get to the Barca ratings because there's a lot to discuss. All right, let's go. All right, let's go. Friends of Mundo Maldini, this historic victory for Leganés, 0-1, this loss for Barca. In any case, Barca remains the leader, still leading, and we'll see what they're capable of against Atletico de Madrid, which is a crucial match. There are three teams at the top. Atletico de Bilbao could have gotten within 2 points of Madrid, but they drew against Alaves. Let's talk about Iñaki Peña. On the goal, I can't do anything. It's a completely solo shot from Sergio. I can't do anything at all. And then, to be honest, he practically didn't participate, so I'm going to give him no rating. I really can't rate Iñaki Peña, honestly. He didn't shoot again. Well, he had an easy shot on target, the Ghanaian player, but Iñaki Peña remains unqualified. In this match, Barca lost, but Leganés hardly tested them at all. And on the goal, I insist that I can't do anything. For me, Kounde was the best player for Barca yesterday. For me, he was the best. I liked how he was coming down the right side, but honestly, he missed a goal at the end that could have been the equalizer, one he shouldn't have missed with that shot that went to the right of the goalkeeper. And the truth is that defensively, they didn't make him suffer much either. So I think Kounde had a really good match. I'm going to give him a 7. There's going to be a lot of suspense with Barca, as you can imagine, but Kounde was definitely the best for me. A 7 for Kounde. Edith Garcia. To be honest, Flick had said he could play. Flick, who wasn't on the bench, but I'm going to rate him as a coach, of course. He had said that Araujo could have played in this match, or at least for a few minutes. In the end, Araujo couldn't come out, but he left Cuba out to give him a rest and brought in Eric Garcia. Since Leganés hardly attacked, we didn't see much of Eric Garcia bringing the ball up to the final third with those runs he can make. He made a pretty good through ball in the first half, but not much else. I'm going to give him a flat 5. A flat 5 for Eric Garcia. Íñigo Martínez, well, pretty much the same. He really didn't have any work to do. That play was poorly defended by Barca's defense on Sergio's goal, but from there, the Ghanaian team hardly attacked. So you're going to give Íñigo Martínez a 5-2, a flat 5. Without any work, really. Íñigo Martínez, bucket. I expected more from Balde in a match against such a compact opponent. I think it was really important to open up the wings for Barca. The two wings for Barca, it's true that Leganés' 5-man defense made the team structure itself very well defensively. Very, very good. Make a perfect top there. Borja. And then in the second half, he pushed the defense up a bit more, which I think complicated things a lot more for Barca. But I expected more from Balde on the left wing. He's a player who needs to make a lot more runs down the wing and get forward much more. He made a good play in the first half, which is a cross that Raphinha heads. Then Dimitrovic makes an incredible save. By the way, Dimitrovic deserves an outstanding grade, even though I'm giving Barca a 4. A 4 for Valde. Valde fails. First fail for Barca. A 4 for Valdemar. Couto. Well, it was a weak match. He also fouled a couple of times. I think I saw Casado playing really poorly. It was one of the worst matches he's played. Logically, he didn't have to recover much ball because Barca only had 20% of the possession. It was 80% for Barca and 20% for the opponent. He didn't have to recover much ball, but then he didn't distribute it well. He didn't find any space in the middle. A 4. Casado as well. All right, let's talk about Pedri. I have to admit that Pedri tried throughout the match, but he didn't get anything right. I think he should have played a bit higher up at many moments. He hardly made any dangerous interior passes, but at least he had a much bigger involvement in Barca's offensive play. Unsuccessful, obviously, and without any accuracy either. But a flat 5 is what I give to Pedri. A flat 5 for Pedri. Dani Olmo, the worst match he's had by far at Barca since he arrived. Dani Olmo was very erratic with all his interior passes, hardly generating any danger. He had a play in the first half with a shot where he practically didn't even shoot. He hit the ball horribly and barely made a shot. Very bad. Very bad match for Dani Olmo. In the end, it's logical that Flick went for him because he had been playing, and he had been playing well. Andormer's lot was quite good or very good, especially in the first half, but I'm going to give him a 3. 3 for Dani Olmo, who obviously didn't finish the match. Raphinha, a rare Barca attacking highlight, hit the post with a shot saved by Dimitrovic. He set up Lewandowski, whose shot was saved. In the second half, he tried playing on the right, but Jamal's form limited him. However, he played more inside and couldn't find gaps. I'll give him a 5.5, no more. In the second half, he tried playing on the right, a position he could excel in if not for Lamine Yamal at Barca. That would be his spot, but he's been playing more inside and couldn't find gaps. Interior passes in the second half, so I'll give him a 5.5, no more for Raphinha. Lamine Yamal, inside passes in the second half as well, so I'm going to try it with a 5.5 for Raphinha, but no more than a 5.5 for Raphinha. Lamine Yamal, friends of Mundo Maldini, I mentioned it afterwards. I commented on the match on Cope and I talked about it after the game. He took that hit on his ankle, which I think really affected him, and I saw him struggling. I saw Lamine Yamal struggling, but I think that had a lot to do with it. He hardly beat his man even once. Those balls that come to Lamine Yamal, instead of trying to beat the defender, he just puts in a cross that's practically a gift, just getting the ball off him. I see that too many times, the Lamine Yamal. So he has to be suspended. He has to be suspended. He couldn't finish the match. I think that hit on the ankle has a lot to do with it. We'll see what he has for the match against Atletico Madrid. But I'm giving him a 4.5 for Lamine Yamal. I didn't understand the substitution of Robert Lewandowski. He's not the same now. Lewandowski was taken out for Varane. I didn't get Barca's move. I think Barca needed him. They were on a relatively good run in some matches with Robert Lewandowski. But he's not the Lewandowski from the start of the season. So he takes Lewandowski out to bring in Varane, and then in the end, he puts in Pau Vitor to play with two strikers. I really didn't understand that move from Barca, to be honest. In the first half, he had a very clear chance that Dimitrovic saved. I really didn't understand that move from Barca. In the first half, he had a very clear chance that Dimitrovic saved. He had another one where he controlled it with his back and then shot. Dimitrovic also saves it. I'm going to give Lewandowski a 5. He's had worse matches during his worst time at Barca, Lewandowski, but obviously this season is much better than what we saw yesterday. A flat 5 for Robert Lewandowski. Let's talk about the substitutes. Ferran, who came on and practically didn't participate in the game. Very involved among the centre-backs. It was difficult, obviously. He came off scoring 2 goals. Dortmund, a match where I gave him a top mark. Here, I have to give Ferran a 4.5. 4.5 for Ferran. Fermin played very much on the left and also hardly participated. It was a very tough match for Fermin, who's a player that needs space in front for the back-and-forth play. And with the team sitting back so deep, it was clear that it was really hard for him, but he barely participated. A 3.5 for Fermin. Kubar, yes, 2009. Well, I think the change Flick wanted was to give the team a bit more outlet with the opponent sitting so deep and to drive the ball much more into the midfield, but we didn't really see that. A 4.5 for Kubar. He did miss this match. I think it was for precaution. Gavi, practically nothing. We're also getting into the final stretch, and the thing is he hasn't even made single goal-scoring play. In the second half, Barca had that chance from Kounde, but Dimitrovic hardly had to intervene at all. Barca was completely unable to add any speed to the game, to find passes in dangerous areas, also thanks to the good work of Leganés. Gavi also gets a 4.5. And then Pau, I'm not going to rate Victor because he played very few minutes alongside Serrano, and then I'll give a rating. And we finish with Flick, who I know wasn't on the bench, so it's a slightly different rating. Well, he was on the bench. He also said that he wasn't going to communicate with those on the bench. I think he did communicate in the end. Usand. The decision to bring in Ari Garcia for Cuba was understandable. It was a match that in theory should have been quite comfortable for Barca, and it was quite the opposite. The substitutions, I didn't like the change of Lewandowski. I'll say it again, I didn't like the change of Lewandowski. I understand the change of Dani Olmo in terms of field direction, as he didn't contribute much when it came to breaking down the opponent's defense. So Flick is to fail. In this match, many from Barca fail, and Flick fails too. You lose at home against Leganés Usan, so Flick fails. These are the ratings. Of course, Dimitrovic deserves a 9.5, a spectacular rating for Dimitrovic. Also for Sergio, who scored the goal, the defense from a collective standpoint was fantastic. Borja, the coach of Leganés, did very well. So, historic victory for Leganés. For the Leganés team, one with this jersey, not this exact one, but one like this. With 11 like this or more of those who came out in the second half, Lega won this historic match. These are 3 unexpected points for Lega Usan, but they're crucial after losing the last matches against Real Madrid, against Real Sociedad, etc. A hug. Bye 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 bye.